The African's position on the divinity is that no one can know God. Even in the Christian tradition, they said no one can know God. So the African says, no one can know God, but we can know some of God's attributes and some of God's qualities and some of God's personality.
And as a matter of fact, the word that is oftentimes translated as God coming from out of ancient Kemet, or what people today call ancient Egypt, is the word Neteru, from which we get the word nature.
They call them Neters, okay? Neteru.
Aspects of nature. Neteru is the plural for Neter. And these are concepts of nature.
So, whereas they came across this term Neteru, which means power or principle of nature, they translated it to mean gods.
And erroneously, a lot of people call these things gods. The Africans do not call Heru a god, or Hathor a god, or Nephthys a god, or Set a god.
That is an immediate red flag that makes somebody say, hey, wait a minute, there's only one God. All that other stuff, that must be pagan, that must be polytheistic.
Neteru is a Kemetic word which means the principle or aspect of the divine.
Aspects of divinity's personality. Aspects of the essence of the divinity's personality.
And so they identified specific aspects of Neteru that were associated with the land, with water, with air, with the sun, with plants, with animals.
All animals. That's birds, bees, ants, insects, fish, all of them were here before human beings was on this planet. So now, if certain animals know how to survive in the desert, all I gotta do is study those animals and I get a clue.
So every single thing on this planet was understood by them to contain an aspect, a principle of the one.
Western society do it too. They call them angels. We know there's no people with wings flying around anywhere, but they have these people with wings that represents, you have Gabriel, you have Michael, and you have other angels that do different things. They represent different powers of God in our lives. And we use archetypical anthropomorphic symbols. And that's what the symbols in ancient Kemet is, with the different bird heads and animal symbols.
So in ancient Kemet, they looked at this and they said, whoa, he has the keenest eyesight. The falcon is the only bird that can look directly at the sun. That's like looking at the face of the Creator. Looking at the face of God. You know, supposedly you can't do that. Okay, so they looked at Heru, must be some divine being.
We didn't.
Leidse hutspot met kalfsausijs en uienjus. En die hutspot wordt gemaakt met aardappels.
We didn't put the bird Heru's head on a human body because we worship the falcon or the hawk. We put that on because we realized that the hawk, the falcon, the bird has a special God-creator gift. And that's sight.
They studied the falcon. They realized it's the fastest creature, the fastest animal on the planet Earth. The pelican falcon goes 200 miles per hour. Jet pilots and bombers are imitating the descent of a falcon as it tucks his wings in, as his arms come in. You can't hide. I can spot you under a leaf 2 miles away. You know, see those concepts. So the king, all the rulers were depicted as great falcons. In fact, they're called Chimsu Heru, followers of Heru. Not because they wanted to be a bird, because they wanted to accent these dynamic characteristics. Now that happens with all of the animals.
And so you see that back in ancient Kemet with the pharaohs being the embodiment of God.
The Neteru of the sky was called Nut. The Neteru of the Nile, of the waters, was called Hapi. The Neteru of the sun was called Ra.
And so, for example, Asar, Aset, and Heru, those are examples of Neteru. We have Ma'at, we have Jehuti.
Jehuti, the bird with the long beak. There's a bird called the ibis bird that lives in Egypt, and it forages for worms in the shore of the ocean and the waters. And it looks like it's writing. It looks like it's scripting, doing cursive writing. And so when they wanted to show people an example of what someone who is a writer, a recorder is, they use that bird as that symbol, and the people get it.
The ibis crane showing skillness, meditation, patience, intellect. So we use Jehuti as the ibis crane.
They use the jackal, Anubis, that has a dog head. And so you see, they worship a dog. No. The culture in ancient Egypt, the jackal was a dog that would bury its meat when it killed it, because the meat is too tough for the body to digest, like a deer or an antelope. So it buried it in the sand and let the heat of the desert virtually cook it. But before the meat got rotten and poisonous, it would dig it up and eat it and ingest it. And so that is a symbol of good judgment. So when you're talking about Anubis being the judge of the soul of the departed person, you use the jackal.
So in nature, if you looked at Inpu, he's the guard dog. He's the guard. The dog is the guard. He protects your domain. And guess what? Jackals are not black in general. They're brown and reddish brown and things like that. When a black jackal's in a pride, he's the leader. See? So by studying nature, they kind of understood symptomatically what jackal we want there. We don't want the red, the brown jackal, we want the black jackal. Okay? And he understands transformation from one rites of passage to another.
And so when you look at their theology is that God is the totality of creation, and everything else is an expression of an aspect of that totality's existence. Thus, our purpose is to become God in fact. And so the word voodoo, Godzi, is man manifest as God.